it's John here, and today I have a tutorial for you guys. This tutorial is going to be about vocal chops. It is completely unscripted, and I'm kind of just going with it. So I've gotten a lot of requests lately about doing tutorials, and I didn't really know what to do it on. So I thought vocal chops is something. There's not a lot of tutorials out there about it, so maybe I'll show you guys just kind of how I do it. So, before I start this tutorial, I would like to give you guys a cool public service announcement about my new pack, Sounds of the Nebula Volume 2. If you're into samples or presets and you don't like doing stuff by yourself, this is the pack for you. It is full of high quality sounds and awesome stuff that is very similar to what I'm going to make right now, and a bunch of the stuff in this project right now. And if you want it, there's a link in the description. Also, one of the like signature edition of Sounds of the Nebula, there's a couple editions. The very highest one actually comes with a private tutorial. So if this tutorial helped you and you want more, maybe you can buy that, and then you can get yourself some free tutorials about whatever the heck you want. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so see what we got here. We have sort of a little project going on. This is from a song that has yet to be released, and it's kind of just a little pattern. So let's listen to that real quick. So that's what that sounds like. Really, you can put vocal chops over anything, but for example purposes, I just made sort of a little loop with some bass, some mids, and some highs. So let's get our vocal chops going. So what I use to do vocal chops is a little program in FL Studio called SliceX. SliceX is very handy, and I'm sure there's a couple other different similar things if you're using Ableton or any other less superior DAW than FL Studio. So SliceX. What is SliceX? I really have no idea what it is other than it's a sampler. So what we need is something to sample. So let's get us some vocals, which I'm going to get right now. Let's use these vocals. All right. So now that we have our vocals loaded in SliceX, we can cut them up. Now, the option to cut vocals in SliceX is right here, and this will automatically place a bunch of cuts throughout the vocal. So then you can go ahead and play on your keyboard or your MIDI keyboard if you have one of those, and you can hear the samples. Now it's probably a good idea to get rid of that and to go ahead and link our vocals to a mixer track. Now let's see where we find a mixer track. Now let's go ahead and just put some simple effects on there so it sounds good. Let's get some reverb. Some simple reverb and maybe some delay. Let's see, where's delay bank? Okay, now we sort of have some effects on our vocals. Something I forgot to mention is when you make your vocal chops, you need sort of an acapella to cut up. You can use any sort of vocal. I use this from a project that I have coming out soon, and it's just vocals for a song that sound like this. Ooh, let me, your compass rose. And so you can use really whatever you want. And you could experiment with a bunch of different types of vocals, maybe some vocodecs or talkbox vocals. But a big question I get is, where do you get vocals? Well, you can pay a singer to sing some. and then you can use those as vocal chops, as I have done right here. You can find yourself an a cappella of a popular song, although something to keep in mind is you probably want to change it up a bit so it's not the same as the song, so you don't get hit with some like royalties or something, some copyright stuff. But you can get you just need any sort of vocals. You can even record them yourself, put a ton of auto-tune on it, and cut them up, and they can still sound good that way. So now that we have our vocals, we're ready to start making the sort of vocal melody. So if we go into the piano roll, you will notice that each of these correspond with a different position in the vocal chops. So let's, how I sort of do it is I kind of just go sort of randomly until I find one that looks good or sounds good. So I like to highlight this, and if we go into our pattern, we can press play and listen to it with the vocal chops. So let's get in here. I forgot. Another thing you have to do is make sure your vocals are in key with the track you are working on. So if we're going to put this up 200 cents, because I know these vocals, I believe, are in D, B minor, something weird. But so I put them up 200 cents so they're in the same key as the pattern that I'm working on. And that's how you sort of get those higher pitched vocals. You can see, and if you want like the really high pitched vocals, you can crank them way up there. And that's how you get that, but you also have to worry about, you know, making sure it's in key with what you're working on. So that's definitely something to think about. But I do know that 200 cents will get us in the key we want because 2 notes. So let's get started making our vocal chops. Another thing you can do is mess with these the velocity things down here, and you can increase the velocity of the note to make it louder or decrease it to make it quieter, and that will give you more of a dynamic feel, as well as add you can level some of the stuff if some of the vocal parts are very quiet. For example, this one. Now, I could spend absolutely forever, and sometimes it does take quite a long while to find a good melody, but since this is a tutorial and we have time limits, I believe I made this a little earlier, and it's something to get us started. There we go. So a problem I'm noticing in this is some of the timing with these notes. I believe it's this one right here, marker 103. So with timing, we want to open slice X, find marker 103. Let's see, 103 is right here. There we go. And we can move this marker so that the timing sounds a little better. There we go. Now, sometimes when you move a marker, if you look at the piano roll real quick, that will happen. And all you have to do is just press the undo button. I don't know why it does it. There's probably a way around it that I don't know about, but I've just noticed that has been a very big problem for me. So let's finish our patterns. So I've been messing around with this a little bit, but the more and more you do this, the more the quicker you'll be able to tell if something's gonna sound good. When you familiarize yourself with the vocals, you'll know which notes are which, and you can hear, okay, this is probably gonna sound good with this chord and whatnot. Basically, what I'm saying is, the more you practice it, the better you'll get at searching for the melody. But that's sort of how I do mine. I like to find sort of this random combination of completely random sections, and it helps to make this sort of unique melody that goes well with whatever sort of bars you have laid down already. And now you can put vocal chops over, you know, a section like this, or even in the drop, or even in the beginning. But listening to the vocal and putting randomly, mostly randomly selected notes down with it, helps me at least to come up with a cool melody that goes with it. And this is how I've made the vocal chops for a lot of my songs, Harpuya, Wicked, all those, and a bunch of cool future ones that are coming out. So we have our vocal chops. Let's mix them in a little better. So how I mix my vocal chops is very similar to how I mix regular vocals. And so I'll have a reverb that puts them sort of in the middle of the mix, so they have you know, a lot of energy. So maybe, you know, bring the pre-delay down a little bit, and you can mess with the amount and whatnot to see how that fits. Let's do that. So then once you have your reverb, I like to put a ping pong delay on it to give it sort of stereo width and presence in the stereo spectrum. And this adds a whole lot of space to the sound, so to say. Now something you probably want to add before these two things, I often will put them in the middle, so I avoid having to do this part, but a compressor. And this will make sure that the levels of your vocal chops are all sort of the same, which we sort of did with the velocity, but this will help to make sure nothing really peaks like crazy. And so I just like to bring the threshold down a little bit, and then a ratio to help make sure that the vocals are not going crazy. So you can see right here these peaks. You know, you sort of want to level them out a little bit and make them more even. And you could use a compressor to do that. And then something after that you can do is EQ to fit it well with the track. A lot of vocals are different. Some people have very bassy voices, some airy voices, and so EQing will help them fit better into the mix. Something I found is you can be a little more aggressive with your effects on vocal chops than you can on regular vocals, because they don't sound like regular vocals. So you can sort of edit them a little more and it will sound more natural. And you can continue to go back and fit them better depending on what part of the mix you're using. But I think that's the general effects I have on most vocal chops. I just sort of mix them in as very, very simple vocals. Some other things you can add are saturation to give them a little warmth. Let's see. It's just maybe something really simple. But you can really go sort of crazy with things. Like I said, they're a little more flexible than regular vocals. So something I've done before is maybe put some sidechain on them. If it loads. Obviously it doesn't sound very good right here, but in other situations it might. I believe that's a lot of what I do. I don't think there's much else I would do to these vocal chops, and they seem to fit pretty well. Make sure your levels they're not super loud. You can change mess with some of the stereo settings if you want them a little wider. But there we go. We have some simple vocal chops that fit really well with what we have right here. And we did that just by putting random notes down using SliceX. It's actually a very, very easy thing to do, and all you have to do is have some patience to find the right melody. Sometimes it can be very hard, but if you sit there and work on it, you can usually find something pretty cool. So that was the tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys liked it, and I really hope it helped you out. If it did, be sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Future tutorials, I'll probably be doing some more. I also, Sounds of the Nebula Volume 2, if you want a custom tutorial, that's the thing that I'm doing, apparently. Or if you just want some cool Silent One sounds for your mixes, like in here. I think I actually have this one. Yep, that's in it. Yep, those are both in it, made by me. Ooh, and this one. So there's some cool sounds in there. I actually believe some of these loops are in there. I made a bunch of loops for it too. And even this kick, maybe. Is that in there? No, it's not. Maybe it is. I don't know. There are a lot of cool sounds and some vocal stuff in there if you're into vocal chops and don't want to make your own. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to download it. So I believe that's it. If you guys have any questions, please ask them below, or even contact me if you have any questions about anything at all. I hope this helped you, and like, comment, and subscribe for more cool tutorials.